Hello beautiful people, it's Cinderella. Welcome to the channel. Today we're back again with another video, and this is from Miss T channel. The title reads, Louis Vuitton CEO resigns after Chinese manufacturers expose greed, 1000% mark up on goods. Okay, is about luxury brands and Chinese manufacturers. Do you think this was the reason, or this is gonna be the reason why a CEO resigned? Because yeah, we get it. Nobody wants all of this publicity attached to their business, but I don't think this is the reason. Maybe it's already in the works for him to resign. If actually he resigned, it's all been in the works for him to do so. So this may not be the reason why. But yeah, we're gonna check the video together, and I would love your thoughts and your contribution in the comments below. Let's dive right in.
Most of them are made in China, and most of them are made in our factory. Yeah, I'm telling you. But why these luxury brands never tell you that? Because they are trying to pretend to be products of some sophisticated European countries like Italy or France.
We are going to be successful. In a few weeks, the shop was open. We sell the most expensive products in a country where everybody was going by bicycle.
Saw a slowdown and a contraction in the global luxury market. About 50 million people either opted out or were forced out of the luxury market over the past 2 years.
I do feel people started to get tired of purchasing products and realized that we just bought too much. And they didn't really make us happier.
Y'all, could the Chinese manufacturers have actually forced Bernard Arnault into an early retirement? Because listen, LVMH shareholders had agreed that Bernard could stay CEO until he was 85 years old. 85, y'all. And he had a whole decade left to run luxury fashion into the ground if he wanted to. But here we are, at just 76 years young, rumors are swirling that Bernard might finally be hanging up his tailored suit jackets and calling it a day. And y'all, it's not just because he's tired at 76. It's after these tariffs. The Chinese TikTokers coming for luxury brands next, and receipts being dropped about how these so-called French-made luxury items are actually coming from Chinese factories and being sold with 1000% markup. Y'all, that started with Hermes, and now it's Louis Vuitton's turn on the chopping block. Now,
okay, stop it. Obviously, these are rumors. These are rumors. I know. If I'm being honest, in defense of the brands, luxury brands or whatever, it is called business, right? And obviously, they're not gonna resign, or he is not gonna resign because of this tariff or whatever. They've dealt with, they've seen more, lost more, and they're still gonna survive. But again, this may, or this will not be the reason why he may want to resign or whatever. If eventually he is to resign, maybe there may be something else, or some whatever they are dealing with, or whatever they're running or whatsoever. But it's wouldn't be, I don't think it will be tied to or related to the tariff, right? And it's business. So obviously these are where they potentially would be able to get their manufacturers from, or get people who will be able to do business for them, or do their manufacturing faster. So obviously it is business. They built the brand, and that is what they're selling, and you will not blame them or blame a business for selling their brand. I mean, that is the essence of them staying in business and surviving the business market, right?
this is the kind of expose that you do not want to miss, so buckle up, baby, because we're diving deep into the glittering mess behind these Louis Vuitton logos. Let's get into it. So let's start right at the top, shall we? Because the Italian government just grabbed Dior and LVMH by their designer collars and started airing them out. They're straight up filing lawsuits against Dior, LVMH, and Armani, calling them out for lying about where their stuff is made. And y'all, it's not giving romantic little artisan in a cute Italian village. No, not at all, baby. Turns out a lot of these so-called made in Italy luxury pieces are actually mass-produced in China. Then brands do the bare minimum in Italy, like adding a button or sewing a strap just so they can legally slap the fancy made in Italy tag on it. But get this, one of the biggest bombshells dropped back in June 2024. Italian courts placed manufacturers Dior SRL, that's Dior's production company in Italy, under full court control. Why? Because prosecutors found out Dior was subcontracting their work to small Chinese-owned factories like Pelletteria, Elisabetta Yang SRL, and New Leather Italy SRLS. And y'all, the conditions inside, absolutely disgusting. Workers doing crazy overtime without getting paid, no health protections, people were literally sleeping at their sewing machines just to keep up with orders. Meanwhile, Dior's out here charging y'all $6,000 for a handbag.
It costs Dior less than 60 euros to make a handbag that it sells for nearly 3,000 euros. That's what Italian authorities found out when they raided factories making products for Dior and other fashion brands like Armani.
But let's be very clear, Dior is not the only one. This is a dirty little secret across the whole luxury industry. They sell you this dream about European craftsmanship, but behind the scenes, they're cutting every corner possible just to stack their coin. So next time you're holding that $3,000 bag feeling fancy, huh? Well, just know that you might actually be holding a piece of a huge, messy lie. And y'all, hang tight because it gets even worse when you hear how little these workers are paid. Like, you're seriously gonna want to throw hands after this. But right after those lawsuits started popping off, Reuters came through swinging with some straight-up jaw-dropping reveals. Y'all, no exaggeration, this might want to make you throw your designer bag out the window or in the trash, or at least in the back of the closet for now. But turns out that LVMH, you know, the group behind Louis Vuitton, Dior, Fendi, and a bunch others, has been blatantly exploiting Chinese workers, not just in China, but also in these secret little workshops hidden inside Italy. But wait for it, because the numbers are absolutely insane. A $2,780 Dior bag was exposed as being made for just, get ready, $57. Meanwhile, they got people out here breaking their necks to buy it for almost $3,000. But according to inside sources, these luxury bags weren't just made in shady conditions. They were made by workers who didn't even have legal papers to work in Italy. These workers were literally living inside the factory, sleeping right next to the machines they spent 15 to 16, even 18 hours working on. No real breaks, no real homes, no basic rights, just grinding day and night so these brands could keep selling their luxury fantasy.
Well, if I'm being honest, I don't think they actually forced you to buy their luxury brand or luxury item. We're going to talk about the business aspect first, but talk about, like, in defense of the brand, they did not force people to buy. Whether you buy or not, there are still people that are still going to buy it for the love of the brand or for the sake of the love of the brand. So people who went to or who go out to buy $6,000 bag, $3,000 bag, $60,000 bag, or whatever, they want to spend. They thought in their mind that by spending they're getting the good quality for the item. Little did they know, but obviously they did not fool you. That is business. It is just business. And talk about whatever working condition they have. If I'm being honest, what we're just gonna say, all of this are rumors, right? Right? Because I actually don't want to talk about it, right? But let's just say that if their manufacturers are said to be in China, which obviously we know by now that lots of these brands have their manufacturers in China, lots of the products are manufactured in China. Even if they bring it to their country and stack the label or whatever, even some of those labels are they still not made in China and shipped and brought back to this. So obviously they are doing the cost or looking for ways that they are going to cut cost and sell their brand, and obviously that is what they are selling. And people that already knew about this knew that, okay, rather than spending thousands of dollars to buy material things or whatever, why not just spend cheap and buy affordable? So it is you who thought by spending your thousands of money would is what is going to give you luxury. If that is what is giving you luxury and comfort, then do you. Nobody's stopping you or anything. But the fact that people want to make it seem like, oh, this brand's fooled them, no, they didn't. They did not. It is business. They did what every other or any business person would do. And nobody or no business person is going to reveal their source of where their manufacturer is or where they produce their item or whatever. As long as you're getting good quality or getting the quality and you're buying the brand or whatever, do the business all well done and there is no complaint, good, right? Smile back home with your item and let them smile to the bank. It is called business exchange, buying and selling, exchange of items and sources and services
to the rest of the world. And the nerve, LVMH still out here posting up at a fashion show, sipping champagne and acting like they're the pinnacle of style and success, when behind the scenes, they're running the biggest. If you see somebody flexing their Dior saddlebag on the gram, just know it might have cost them $2,780, but Dior barely spent enough to cover a dinner date. And if you thought the $57 Dior bag scandal was bad, it only gets worse from here. So you know that $1,500 Louis Vuitton Neverfull bag that's literally everywhere on TikTok and Instagram? Yes, y'all, the one that everybody's been fighting to get? Well, guess how much it actually cost them to make? $50.
Okay, let's go.
And y'all, this isn't just some rumor floating around. Insiders and investigators have been screaming about this markup for years. They exposed that Louis Vuitton's markup is over 1,000%, meaning that they can make a bag for every little pocket change and flip it for luxury prices like it's handcrafted from unicorn tears or fairy dust. But y'all, there's more. A former luxury manufacturing insider came through with some real tea. Turns out a lot of these high-end materials aren't even true luxury grade anymore. Like, not even always top-tier leather.
The chip came out. A little over 1 square foot of Vaqueta leather came out. 2 different finishes. The best Vaqueta leathers in the market is $7-8. At their level, let's give them $10. And you need 2 square foot. So $20 for the leather, $5 for the materials, inner linings, fabrics, authentication, chip, and $10 for the labor.
And about that romantic image of Italian grandpa's hand-snitching bags in the Tucson sun, throw it away. It's a fantasy. It's garbage. Because most of the time, the bags are either made in China or by low-paid Chinese workers tucked away in dusty workshops across Europe, not the glam squads the ads want you to believe in. So let's keep it real a second. For a millisecond, that $1,500 Neverfull bag probably cost less than your monthly phone bill to make. And it was likely stitched together by an overworked, underpaid worker living in terrible conditions. And Louis Vuitton slapped 1,000% markup on it because they know you will pay for the clout. And just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, TikTok turned it into an all-out battle. Chinese creators basically said, we're tired of the lies, and started dragging luxury brands through the mud for everybody to see. One name you need to know? Wang Sen. This man wasn't just talking slick. He's been giving full-blown exposés. Like, he's walking through these factories, showing actual workers showing what looks like suspiciously Louis Vuitton, Dior, and Gucci.
First of all, let me just ask you this question. Why is China speaking now, and why all of a sudden China is all over TikTok or the internet? Before, they were not on the internet. They practically have had their own that they would see, or what is pretty much been controlled. They don't hear what you hear, they don't know what you know, and you don't know what they know or what they hear, obviously. So why are they all of a sudden on social media? Don't you think that this is fishy? Yeah, people see because of the tariff and whatever, they need to stay in business. They want to stay in business, and obviously if the tariff price or tariff is high on them, potentially lots of businesses will be pulling out and looking for the other places or where it's going to be cheaper or more affordable. So now they're coming to tell you, or by coming to say, oh, they're exposing this, is them coming to say, oh, come buy directly from them, boycott this and boycott that. But still they are the ones still going to be making the money, right? Right? They still want to be producing, and they've been doing this for years without complaining, without them being on the internet. They could have as well been exposing this long, long time ago. Why are they all of a sudden on the internet now? People are not asking that question. Why are they all of a sudden on the internet now? Why are they now using TikTok? Hmm. All of a sudden, when the tariff hits, then they realize that there's a platform called TikTok. They started creating TikTok accounts, creating all of this as expose. None of this is pretty much exposing anything. I mean, they've been doing this wholeheartedly, joyfully, and whatever, without complaints or whatnot. And lots of people, if we're being honest, lots of them loved the job because maybe it's a learning process, a learning phase for them. They loved the job they're doing. So I just feel like they know exactly what they're I just think they know exactly what they're doing, because all of a sudden China is on TikTok and they are suddenly creating videos saying, oh, you can come buy directly to them. Where were they before the tariff? Where were they? Ask yourself the question. It's not making any sense to me. But again, for people who think this is pretty much brands being exposed, no, they're not. They're not exposed. They're business people, and it's called business.
Bags, and y'all, the resemblance was not coincidental.
You recognize this style, this bag? Of course you do. For the past more than 30 years, we have been OEM factory for most of the luxury brands around the world. Gucci, Prada, Coach, Louis Vuitton, you name it. But for this, I am not proud because we were only making our wages. The profit margin for the people who are actually making the bags are very low.
But get this, after Wang Shen's video started going viral crazy, TikTok came through swift with the mass bans. And I'm talking wiping his accounts clean, poof, gone, not once, not twice, but multiple times. And while TikTok was busy scrubbing Wang off the platform, the Chinese girlies had already moved on to the next play. Apps like Taobao and DHgate started shooting up with App Store charts. Why? Because sellers started
Well, talk about DHgate. Lots of people have been shopping on DHgate, and they know that that item you're getting for how many thousands of dollars, you'll get it for affordable on DHgate, and it's the same. But people think like, oh, if you're buying on DHgate or whatever, you're not buying You're buying cheap. Well. That is the mindset that was created by some group of people. And it's the exact same. Sometimes it cannot even just be individuals that just created it and say, oh, if you're buying from here, you're not buying luxury. You have to buy here or buy this. And people love that illusion of wanting to be part of or be buying or want to buy luxury brands or luxury items. Sometimes it may not even be the business, it may just be individuals that because they got it, they also want other people to get it. And people love luxury, right? Right. Yes. So there are some platforms that have been selling all of this or pushing all of this before. Say come get the dupe or whatever, and people get them. People be like, or people shame people who go on some of these platforms or some of these apps to buy the dupe of whatever luxury item. But no, they did not fool you. You just thought that by spending hundreds of thousands of dollars is gonna give you luxury or comfort. And if you think it's gonna give it comfort, that is fine. Do you?
TikTok feeds with luxury dupes like actual made in the same factory products and dropping all the multiple times. And while TikTok was busy scrubbing and weighing off the platform, the Chinese girlies had already moved on to the next play. Apps like Taobao and DHK started shooting up with App Store charts. Why? Because sellers started flooding TikTok feeds with luxury dupes like actual made in the same factory products and dropping all the receipts, side-by-side comparisons, full breakdowns, quality checks. Y'all, the drama is unmatched. And people were literally reconsidering their whole closets after seeing how these dupes look like the real thing.
Okay, so with all of the hype about the Chinese made bags versus in-factory bags, so this is one on the go Louis Vuitton that I bought from DH Gate, and then I also bought it from the actual store.
But of course, some people started yelling Chinese propaganda, trying to brush it all off. But the screenshots, these factory videos, and the receipts, they're telling a different story, and it's looking embarrassing for these luxury brands. But before we get too deep into dragging these brands, we gotta keep it real, because not everybody is sipping this tea without asking some serious bad questions. A lot of people in the fashion world are side-eyeing all these viral videos popping up and basically saying, hold up, wait a minute, would a real luxury factory even risk putting this all out there? And honestly, they kind of have a point. See, when it comes to luxury brands, these contracts these factories have to sign are no joke. We're talking strict NDAs, the type where even if you think about leaking the picture, your whole business could get shut down. Some insiders even say if a real supplier got caught spilling info like this, they'd be sued into another lifetime. No exaggeration. So when you really think about it, it's kind of sus that all these videos are floating around so freely, right? Well, that's why a lot of experts believe some of these viral clips are probably showing factory overruns or high quality dupes, meaning the bags and goods look super real. They might even use the same materials, but they aren't actually or officially stamped and blessed by the brands themselves. It's like getting the same recipe but made in somebody else's kitchen, if you get my drift. But here's the real kicker, and you've got to hear this because manufacturers aren't just sitting around waiting for these brands to fix it. No, they're flipping the whole game upside down. Because listen, some of these Chinese manufacturers, they're woke and woke all the way up, and they're moving real different now. They're looking at the situation like, why should we keep getting paid pennies to make these bags when we can just sell them ourselves? And honestly, where's the lie? Now they're selling direct to consumers. No brand names, no middlemen, no crazy markups. Just the same high-end bags, same materials, straight from the source for a fraction of what you pay in a Louis Vuitton or Dior boutique.
Now you know China made everything, but 90% of the websites they're telling you now is not even in English. Here are 3 better websites that actually work for you. For light industry and daily use, go to madeinchina.com. Founded in 1998, leading B2B portal. Many well-established factories have opened stores on this platform.
Now imagine getting that same buttery leather, that same stitching, that same craftsmanship for $300 instead of $3,000. It's almost disrespectful how much they were taxing us for a logo alone. This might just be in the very beginning of the biggest luxury revolution we've ever seen. Right now, LV's whole image, their legacy, even that unbreakable trust they're built with the public, absolutely under serious fire. Like, it's not just a little scandal that blows over in a week. This is deep, y'all. People feel like they've been lied to for years, hoodwinked, bamboozled, spending life savings thinking that they were buying the best of the best, only to find out it was being pieced together in a random factory next to someone else's flip-flops. Like, be for real. And get this, behind the scenes, word on the streets is that Bernard Arnault, the CEO who built LVMH into luxury giant it is today, well, he might be packing it up, y'all, because early.
Well, anyways, you bought luxury. You thought you were buying luxury up until now. So why are you now all of a sudden questioning what you bought or what you got? It's still the same thing, if we're being honest. And yeah, the brand built their name to where they are today. They did not fool anybody. They did not cheat anybody. It is called business. And obviously, while they are trying to do whatever they want to do or they are doing to stay in business, the Chinese market or the Chinese manufacturers also are doing what they want to do to stay in business. So it's a win-win for either parties. If you still go to buy the luxury brands, they're still gonna make money. They still want to stay in business. The Chinese manufacturers still they want to stay in business. So everybody gotta do what they gotta do to stay in business, right?
Retirement talks are heating up, and let's be real, it's giving I'm too old for this mess type of vibe.
And the first time in 91 I arrived in Beijing, there was no car, only bicycles. And we were opening the first Louis Vuitton shop.
Like, imagine being the king of luxury, the richest man in the world at one point, only to have your entire foundational empire start cracking because of a bunch of TikTok whistleblowers and viral factory tours exposing the truth. Well, the illusion was everything, and once it shattered, baby, it's like the whole house of cards just started shaking a table. Now, they're saying Bernard might try to spin it like he's gracefully stepping down because of his age or to enjoy life with his family, but we can see through all of that. Nobody is stepping down happy when their billion-dollar brand is getting dragged through the mud online every day. But listen, if you think that this luxury drama is hot right now, buckle up, baby, because this just might be the very beginning of the biggest luxury industry shakeup we've seen in our lifetime. But now I got to hear from you. Are you victim to these luxury brands? And do y'all think that Louis Vuitton can survive this exposure era? Or is this a slow, messy fall in the biggest luxury empire of them all? And what about Bernard? Is he really retiring gracefully, or is he just running from a sinking ship? Drop your thoughts and comments below, because this conversation is just getting started. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because I just know you're living for this luxury drama tea like me.
Anyways, for me, I don't even believe that the brands fooled you. They were just doing business, which is true, and just the honest truth. And you, if you actually bought from them, you believed in your mind that you were buying luxury. So why all of a sudden you're changing your mind thinking that it's not luxury? Because even the China market that you're going to buy, because everything is pretty much being exposed, everybody will want to say, oh, they are the manufacturers and whatever. And do you think you can actually locate the actual manufacturer? Because now pretty much everything is out in the open and whatever. And funny enough is people are still going to go to the luxurious brand to buy. They're still going to go to buy. And even if the CEO resigns, in our mind, people will say, oh, he's related to this, but I don't think it will be related to this. Maybe some other issues that they may not want to share, and it makes total sense. But this, the brands did not fool you, the manufacturers did not fool you, whatever. It's just you in your mind creating the illusion of owning a luxury item. And yeah, if that is what is going to give you comfort, fine. But again, people should stop all of this to say, oh, these brands are being exposed or whatever. Nothing about this has been exposed. It's just business. Okay? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below regarding this. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. Have you been shopping on the dupe market or whatever? Or did you pretty much knew about this before China and the luxury brands are having this, whatever? And what are your thoughts with China manufacturers all of a sudden speaking out now? Let me know what you think. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.